It's a bright Sunday morning in February here at the Clarence Marina, and on Zephyr 4 it's time to service the Lewmar Winches. It's recommended that they are serviced every year, depending on use of course. It's a couple of years since I last serviced them, so we're going to do it today. Lewmar designed these winches so that they could be dismantled without any tools, and you can unscrew this top piece by hand, and once that's off, strip them down from there. But before we go too far, I need to put some plastic around the winch to protect the deck from any grease or whatever else might fall out of the winches. So here's the top screw off and the rope diverter for the self-tailing top, and the barrel is held in place by a couple of inserts. They're easily removed, but you need to take the weight of the main shaft, and then the barrel just lifts off. It all looks fairly clean in there, not much old grease or muck. And there's the roller bearings. They look fairly clean too. They just slide off. The main shaft just lifts out, but you need to rotate it as you gently lift it out. There are ratchet pulls on the end of the shaft, and by turning the shaft the pulls will close up and allow the shaft to lift out. I'm just comparing them with a new pull, and they look identical, no sign of wear, so I'll leave them in place. Once the central shaft is out, it's possible to remove the two gears at the base. Firstly, the smaller one, it revolves around this short shaft, which just lifts out, and then you can slide out the gear, and once that one is out, the larger one inside can also be removed simply by sliding it out. So that's the winch disassembled, and now we need to clean the old grease from the parts using a suitable solvent. I've always used white spirit, seems to work quite well. A B&Q painter's bucket is ideal to hold everything, and I use a small brush to get the solvent into all the nooks and crannies to remove the old grease and other detritus. You do need a lot of rag or paper towel to dry the parts, and a waste bag is useful to put the used bits in as you go along. We mustn't forget to clean the base structure too, giving it a good wipe with some paper towel and solvent. Once everything is cleaned, we can start to reassemble the winch. Lewmar emphasised that you shouldn't put too much grease on the cogs and other parts, just apply a thin smear. I'm using the special white winch grease, which sticks well and works well under the high pressure of the winch cogs and bearing surfaces. It's just a case of squeezing a small bead of grease out of the tube and using your fingers to spread it over the bearing surfaces. Now I can insert the cog back into the base of the winch, and then we'll insert the main shaft after lubricating the pawls. You shouldn't use grease on the ratchet pawls, it's much too thick and sticky for them. They must be able to move quickly and flick in and out to follow the contours of the other half of the ratchet. Motor oil is suitable, so I'm applying a few drops from the end of a screwdriver and moving the pawls in and out to distribute the oil over the moving parts. Now to insert the main shaft, first pressing the ratchet pawls in so that they fit inside the tube, and then just a quick check that the pawls and the tube are in the right position. After that, I slide the small cog into place and then secure it with the short pin. Then it's the turn of the plastic spacer and the two roller bearings. Just need to add a smear of grease on the base and the bearings just to make sure that they're sufficiently lubricated. We're now ready to fit the barrel, but there are a set of pawls in the top, and to access those we need to remove the self-tailing system from the top of the barrel. This is the only part of the service that requires a screwdriver. Now you can see the three pawls. They move easily, and I just need to wash the old oil off before drying and adding a few drops of fresh engine oil. Now it's time to add a thin film of grease on the inside gears and the bearing surfaces of the barrel. Fitting the barrel in place is the trickiest part of the reassembly. You have to be careful that you don't push the pawls out of place as you drop the barrel down. Otherwise you end up with pawls and little springs flying all over the place. I push the pawls inwards and there you go, the barrel drops in place and no flying springs. It's one of those occasions when you wish you had 3 hands. In hindsight, it occurs to me that if I had screwed the self-tailing assembly on before fitting the barrel, the pawls would be captive and couldn't fly out. Ah well, you live and learn. Now to fit the self-tailer. The 3 screw holes look symmetrical, but after several tries I could only fit it in one position. Inserting a screwdriver to locate the hole helped to find the right place. Now it's time to fit the little inserts that lock the barrel and the main shaft together. And then we can fit the rope guide for the self-tailing function. There's a little plastic strut here which needs to slot under the guide. You can put the guide in several positions. This one looks right for now. Lastly, we can screw on the retaining top unit and the winch is serviced, good for another year or 2 of my sort of sailing. Thanks for watching. I hope it helps you decide to have a go yourself. A click on the like button would be really nice, and subscribing would be wonderful. Take care now.